Yes.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Zoo. The minions with me this evening are Useless,
Hello, how goes it?
Adam,
Hi.
Sora Luna,
Good evening.
and of course, as it's a Friday, I am the Keeper, and I am Sanguine. How are all of you doing tonight?
Alive and kicking.
Better than the alternative. How about you, Adam?
Okay.
That's
I mean, alive. Yeah.
again still better than the alternative. And how about you, Sora?
Oh, pretty good. Thank you. And yourself?
I'm doing grand. I just realized that I fucked up and I turned on my rice cooker when I meant to just have my rice soaking at the moment, so I just need to quickly turn that off. It hadn't started cooking in truth yet. It had just started.
Oh, good.
working. But yeah, I'm doing fairly well. I was telling Sora before the stream started a little bit that I'm dealing with trying to figure out another social media, and just this is not going to help any of the people that have the mental image of me being a Dumbledore-esque figure. I swear I'm just in my very early 30s. I'm not 87 or 248 or whatever age you're imagining me as. But I'm just in my young early 30s, and I'm trying to figure out how to deal with Instagram because I decided to do some food
You're doing
shit on
Instagram?
Instagram.
Oh,
I just
shit.
decided to throw up pictures of food on Instagram.
You could always try
Oh,
Trump's
man.
new media, Trump's Truth Media Social. True Social. I think that's called, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's his new one.
You
I'm-
know what? You could both teach me both of those
Yeah.
because I have no idea how any of those works. So
Well, given that I was leading off with, I feel like an 80-year-old man trying to figure out what the kids are doing nowadays. I don't think that I'm the best person to show you how to use the site.
The Instagram's weird.
It is very much, well, let me see if this works, and toss something up. And so far, it isn't crashing and burning horrendously, but
Oh, that's
I'm-
good.
trying to figure out if
oh, geez.
it's something that it prefers short blurbs for what I'm posting, or if it prefers in-depth explanations for what I'm posting.
See, my problem with Instagram, I made an account for my cooking channel, and then before I even logged on, they deactivated my account because and they asked for my ID. I was like, I ain't giving you my ID because they
How
don't like
the
my
hell
name.
did you do that?
Well, they didn't like my name. They used this cook.
Okay.
I was
Why
like,
didn't
okay.
they like it?
I don't know.
Wait,
like-
so they wanted your real life ID?
Yeah. And I was like, I
That
ain't doing
doesn't
that.
sound right. No, yeah, exactly. What the hell?
Yeah, I didn't have to deal with that. And the name that I have on there has Spurg in the name.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's was it a bot algorithm? So they only
Probably.
added, or like yeah.
Well, I told them, like, I'm running a cooking channel and I want to make this my, And they're like, well, you have to give us ID. I'm like, I ain't giving you my ID. That's
No,
bullshit.
that's weird.
I don't like giving Twitter my phone number.
I'm dealing with that, trying to
Yeah.
figure out how the hell shit works. And like I said, trying to figure out, is it a short blurb like I'm stuck with when it comes to Twitter, where I can just barely explain what the dish is in the picture and what I'm drinking with it? Or is it more of a, yeah, they enjoy knowing how it's done, so giving a full description on how to make the dish is appreciated.
Well,
You give a
hey,
simple description how to make it,
Speaking of which, what are you cooking for dinner tonight?
For dinner tonight, I have rice that I'm currently soaking now that I figured out that I accidentally hit start cook when I didn't mean to. And that's going to be served with a pork shoulder steak that I'm just going to be salting here in a moment after snipping around the edge. If you ever cook pork shoulder steak, always remember to snip around the edge of the piece of meat, because there's a band of connective tissue that runs along the outer edge that if you don't cut it as you cook, it will contract and cause the meat to curl up weirdly. But if you snip around the edge, then it lays flat throughout the entire cooking process.
So that's a way to make sure that when it cooks, it contracts properly.
That it doesn't curl up on you weirdly. So,
does it do anything to the taste, or
it doesn't do anything?
WR.
It doesn't do anything to the taste. The only change that you could have with it is you won't get as good of a sear on the outside if you don't snip it, because it'll curl away in some spots and not be able to allow you to get that contact that you need for the sear.
Well, I was only thinking because, I'm a dum-dum on this stuff, but, when you cut it, you'd think that it's more avenue for the quote-unquote flavor to seep in.
If you're marinating it, then increased surface area will definitely increase the absorption of marinade.
Yeah.
But if you aren't marinating, you're just cutting it right before you sear it, right before you start cooking it, then the only change will be that it doesn't curl. It stays nice and flat. Now, if you're putting a sauce on it, then it'll allow the sauce to adhere more because it has more surface area. Surface area is king when it comes to sauce adhering. But that, like I said, is a slightly different matter. That's more just allowing it to grab more sauce rather than changing the flavor of the meat itself. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say,
Very interesting.
steak without the salt crust is just sad,
Yeah. If you have an anemic steak, that is a depressing thing.
Yeah.
Especially since...
Anemic steak. Yeah.
Yes.
That is really indeed very sad.
Yep. Especially since I've mentioned the Maillard reactions before. If you're playing the drinking game, now's the time to drink. So, what the Maillard reactions are is that crusting process when it comes to meat. It's a reaction of salt, fat, and heat.
Yeah.
Those are the three vital ingredients for Maillard reactions. Also, proteins, of course, play a hand. So, I'll say the four vital are salt, fat, heat, protein.
Mm-hmm.
When those reactions happen on the surface, right where it meets the pan, because that's where all the heat's coming from, you get a score or more of different flavor compounds that are generated by that process alone. So it's not just that, clearly it looks better when it's not anemic. That plays a part in it. But the reason why it tastes better isn't even just simply a concentration of flavor that you get from any time you cook off a little bit of the water. The main thing that causes it to taste better are those chemicals that are caused by the Maillard reactions. Like I said, it's a family of reactions that happen, which changes the flavor, changes the texture, changes the smell of the piece of meat, and just makes it amazing. So you always want to get a nice crust on any piece of meat that you want that depth of flavor. You can do other things without having to worry about the Maillard reaction. So, for instance, you can do stewed meat. Stewed meat is still delicious. A lot of stewed meat you still sear off beforehand, but sometimes there's certain stews that you don't sear off beforehand, and you just boil the meat in the stew. those can still taste amazing, but they have a different flavor because they don't have those Maillards.
Yeah.
But yeah, that, like I said, when you're dealing with the pork shoulder steak, though, always make sure to snip along the outside. That way it lays nice and flat during the cooking process.
I actually smoked pork tenderloin the other day. It was pretty good.
Oh,
Nice.
I wanted to ask, how was the smoked potatoes?
I gotta cook them longer because they didn't cook all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a lower temperature, so I didn't crack that in.
Yep. Yeah, you
But
either have to cook it for much longer at the lower temperature,
Yeah.
or you have to par cook and then finish.
Yeah.
Mm.
But they were good though. They had a nice smoky flavor to them.
Mm-hmm.
I just quick finished them off in the oven when I got them inside. So
Mm-hmm. And Cannibalistic, you are dead right on that. Pouring stewed meat on top of rice. Ooh,
yeah.
Oh,
so good.
yeah, that sounds good.
Really, any good starch pouring a soup over or pouring a stew over makes it amazing. You
Yeah,
can do
beef
it with-
tips and rice is always good, you know.
Yeah, beef tips and rice. You can do it with a beef stew over barley. That's
never
really
had barley.
good. Millet is really good for that as well. Like I said, any good stand-up starch works amazing. And okay.
No, I was gonna say that sounds good though, you know.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'm going to be doing the pork shoulder steak with a saute of mushroom and onion. Then, so I'm going to be slicing up the mushroom here in a moment, tossing that into the pan to cook off the excess water, because mushroom you always need to throw in your pan first. I don't get how many recipes there are where they say toss in your onions and garlic and then add your mushrooms. No, you motherfucker, that's not how you do it. You toss in your mushrooms first, because mushrooms are like 90% water,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to cook off that water.
And
So
takes
that-
forever. So,
Yeah, it takes some time. So what you do is you start with a very lightly oiled pan or a completely dry pan. You throw in your mushrooms. You throw in a pinch of salt. That's how you start anything that involves mushrooms, because that gives the time for the liquid to come out, for it to be sucked out by the salt and just pulled out by the heat. You let your mushrooms brown. Then you throw in your onions and garlic if you want. I always throw in garlic last because garlic burns, and if garlic burns, you fucked your entire thing.
Yeah.
There is no saving it. You throw it out, you start from scratch, and see if you can not burn the garlic this time.
Well, you eat it anyway because you want to waste food, you know.
If you eat it anyway, it's going to be bitter as all hell and will taste like absolute garbage. Because the moment that you've burnt garlic, that acrid, bitter, burnt taste and smell will just permeate the entire dish. There's nothing that you can do to save burnt garlic from poisoning the dish.
Yeah.
Well, hey, the next time we hang out, Sangs, I look forward to a nice onion dish. So,
Nice jammy onions.
Yeah, like I said, I
just
can
take
make
a whole onion, right, Adam? What you're gonna do is you're gonna peel the first couple of layers, just so it's nice and smooth and clean. Then you're gonna roll it up in or dip it in caramel sauce, let it harden with a stick through it, and
Wait,
then
what?
present it to your friend as a caramel apple.
That's how you tell your
What?
friend that you don't want to be friends anymore.
Be
Hold on,
delicious, especially if you get a nice sweet onion.
No, I'm trying to learn to enjoy onions.
Like I said, the way
Caramel.
that you start that is you go for jammy onions. If you don't like any other type of onion, start with jammy onion, because most likely what you don't like about onion is that kind of sulfurous note that
it's everything.
onions start with. There's no way it's everything.
It's everything, but you know
No,
what?
it is not everything, because that is impossible, since there's other flavors, other things that
There's
have
like 6
similar
dimensions,
notes.
things that are hitting me. Oh, oh my god!
You
But you
start
know
with
what?
jammy
Hold on.
onion. It gets rid of those sulfurous
That's what I'm doing
notes,
it
and
for.
it's just sweet and lovely.
Mm.
Have you ever had French onion soup, Adam?
No, because it
That
has French in the name.
okay? How about freedom onion soup? Does that work better for you Americans? Freedom onion soup.
Well, it's
Sure.
not
There
so
you
much
go.
that it's because of being American. It's just the problem that the French are extremely French.
Well, you know.
Well, that
And-
can make you love onions if cooked correctly, because you've got that delicious gravy soup stock
I think
and
the
melted
closest
cheese and fresh baguette and then the onions and then the cheese layer on top for
Yeah.
extra cheese. Oh,
I think the closest onion I've kind of tolerated is one of those crunchy ones that you put on the green beans.
Oh, the fried onion. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know that's probably because it's like deep fried, so it's like, you know, you're not really tasting onion. You're just
Well, it's twofold. It's because it's deep fried, and also because it got rid of the sulfurous note to the onion.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, most people that don't like onion, the reason that they don't like onion is if onion isn't cooked entirely, it has a sulfur note to it.
Hmm.
And it's
Yeah, but
that
most
sulfur
people-
note that people don't like.
But most people are using onions as like toppings, you know. So they're putting it on their burgers and their bratwursts. I don't want that at all. That's
Yep.
gross. I sit
And-
there and I order a Chicago hot dog, no onions. I'll take everything else, but
I think that's sacrilege. How have you not been beaten to death?
because I order from ladies, and you know they can't really beat me. At certain hot dog places, they can yell me to death. I'm pretty sure.
But it
Oof.
depends on how much you like onions. Some people the sulfur note doesn't bother them. A lot of people the sulfur note does. And it depends on what sort of onion, because you have some onions that are very low sulfur, some onions that are very high sulfur. Like Spanish yellows tend to be on the high end of sulfur. Whereas like a sweet Hawaiian tends to be extremely low sulfur.
that's very interesting. I didn't realize that's what is causing people's dislike.
But they don't
It's
put
that sharp
Hawaiian
taste.
onions on hamburgers. That's what I'm saying.
Well, no, if you're doing hamburgers, then quite often the onion that is thrown on is a Vidalia or sweet Hawaiian or sweet Mayan.
Fucking
Sometimes,
Mayans, dude.
if someone prefers a sharper taste, then they'll go for a Spanish yellow. Or red onions are also used fairly often. Red onions have a
Oh, I love
somewhat
red onions so much.
sharp taste depending on the quality of the red onion. Some of them have a much lighter taste. Some of them have a much sharper taste.
Yeah.
It's a weird conversation, to be honest. I just want to point that out.
We're talking about food. You know, we always talk
You
about
were
food.
the genesis of the onion talk.
no.
Yes, you were.
Just because I said I dislike onions doesn't mean we have to go into this foray of the different kinds of onions and their different attributes and shit. Like, good God, I feel like I'm building a character based on onions.
Don't pretend that you didn't know what you were doing.
Oh, hey, that implies that I have the intelligence to be able to fucking conjure some sort of fucking onion mastermind.
No, it doesn't. It just means that you have the knowledge to go, I'm on with Sanguine. I'm talking about something food related.
How
It's
can I
going to be
spread
a
it?
conversation.
Yeah, you can spurg out about it, you know.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I'm eagle ballsing it, so
There are certain topics that everyone should know. If you mention them, I will spurg on them for quite some time. Food, various forms of alcohol, science,
Mm-hmm.
garbage science,
Mm-hmm. True.
and just mythology. Those are pretty much the 5 main topics that if you touch on one of those, I can spurg for a good while. I mean, shit, what was it? 2-3 weeks ago, I ended up spurging for an hour and a half about mythological dwarves.
jeez.
You were on
Mhm.
that night, Adam.
Was I?
Yes.
Well, hey, actually, I have
Wait,
notes. Here's my notes.
I just want to, before you pull out your notes, cannibalistic wizard, sunfish have lives matter too. Okay.
No, they don't.
On
Sunfish
this
are
in
fucking
this house, we
useless.
love the sunfish.
They are fucking useless. Their lack of a swim bladder, those stubby little retarded tails that they have that they can't even use to swim. Sora's currently changing her image to a sunfish, but it's currently stuck in limbo of the blank
Hold on, where is
avatar at the moment.
Yeah.
Where's? Oh no! Oh no! I've lost it. I don't have it in
They
my
get
folder
knocked
anymore.
over
It's
by
okay.
oceanic waves and just end up floating along the surface because they lack an ability to right themselves. And they're so goddamn stupid that a sea lion can eat part of its head, and the sunfish is completely nonplussed by this. Sunfish are goddamn useless.
I just feel like there's so much hatred and negative energy in this chat right now.
Oh
So
shit! I
you
haven't
needed to
even
pull
looked
out
at the chat.
the capybara with a mandarin orange on its head?
Wait, what?
Isn't it adorable? Look at that. I'm still looking for a sunfish. Don't worry. 'Cause I thought I had one saved to my user pick folder, but apparently it did not save. No worries though.
Okay,
yeah.
you know what? Hold on. I think that's part my fault.
Ooh.
I apologize.
And you would be much safer eating shark than eating sunfish, because sunfish are absolutely riddled with parasites.
Yeah.
Because they're too goddamn slow and retarded to not be.
So much hate. You and
They are
Harry. Oh my
useless.
god.
They are absolutely goddamn useless.
And there.
That just reminded
Lovely.
me. This rant on sunfish just reminded me of one of the moments that made me realize I really liked one streamer, because out of the blue, they just ended up saying sunfish are completely retarded. There was nothing going on dealing with sunfish. They just said it out of the blue, and I went, yes, she's one of my people.
Look, I found one. Look how friendly it is. I've got a deep sea diver beside him. And look at the happy face of the sunfish just coming up and saying, hello.
Oh jeez.
The sunfish isn't friendly. The sunfish is just too stupid to know what's happening. The sunfish
We got to
has
protect our single-celled brained friends, okay?
the sunfish has a permanent expression of what was the Dave Chappelle line? The confused 80s gay man. That is the expression that the sunfish always wears. Just this like confused and slightly scared looking. That is the sunfish expression.
Just in my heart of hearts, I champion them. I just feel like the minions, they've gotten such a bad rap between you and Harry that someone has to be on their side, you know?
Because
Yeah, just
they're
like Pluto, you know.
useless.
You know, sometimes, you know, even the most useless fish is useful to somebody else. Like, if it wasn't for the sunfish being an easy snack, a seal may have gone hungry.
No, because that's the most fucked up part about it.
Oh
And
my
I
God,
absolutely
what the
love it. Sea lions, even though they will, like, chew on the frontal lobe of sunfish for shits and giggles,
What the hell
a
are you
good chunk
smoking?
of the time,
What the fuck?
a good chunk of the time, the sea lion, after taking a bite out of the sunfish, will just hawk the bite that it took back into the ocean, not even eating the fucking thing. It's just taking bites out of it for shits and giggles.
Oh my God, I wish I put the cork back on the bottle. Oh man. Oh man.
Even the animals that there's pictures of them eating sunfish don't actually eat the sunfish. They just do it because fuck sunfish.
Maybe they find out that the sunfishes have a really bad taste, and that's their natural defense mechanism.
Like I said, they're absolutely riddled with parasites. But yeah, going back to what was being said before this tangent. So yes, I'm going to do a saute of mushroom and onion. Then I'm going to have a bit of fresh parsley that I grew in my little hydroponic kitchen garden thing that I'm mincing up with some garlic. I'll throw that in with a bit of butter and spoon that over top of the pork shoulder steak, the mushrooms and onions on the rice, and I'll finish that all with a glass of wine to drink. I'll probably be going for a Riesling or Gewürztraminer. And there are no arms of the sunfish. Their retarded little fins can't even move themselves substantially. So they just kind of ineffectually bat at the water and are just carried by oceanic currents.
Okay. And the floppies of the sunfish, is that better?
It is much better because it is more accurate.
I think it'd be kind of cool to meet one.
Wow.
In the completely ineffectual floppies of a sunfish.
Why no
Okay.
octopus punches fish just for fun?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they
My
are kind
favorite-
of dicks.
My favorite thing, though, are dolphins just fuck with pufferfish to get high.
Yeah.
How about a cute danger noodle?
Yeah, that's
There we go. Let's get some sweetness back. There we go. No, but no one can disrespect cute danger noodle.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
don't. Why are you trying to make it normalize? Oh, jeez.
Also, another animal that is... A lot of people like this animal, but I think that it can get fucked because it's too stupid to continue surviving. The panda.
Oh, I don't like pandas. I like red pandas. I think they're adorable. The other the giant pandas, I'm not a fan of. I don't know why. I never liked them.
It's
Oh.
probably because they're too stupid to survive, and we're just trying to save them against their will.
Yeah.
For those who don't get why I'm calling giant panda too stupid to survive, you need to bear in mind several things. First off, panda have the ability to have sex, but in order to get pandas to have sex, we've had to make porn for pandas. And I don't mean that we've filmed two pandas having sex and we show it to pandas to go, see, this is what you should be doing. No. I mean that there is panda porn starring people in panda costumes.
Can you imagine? You go get
Come
a
on, man. We
bachelor's
don't
of
kink shame
science
here.
and then a master's of zoology or something like that. And where does your degree take you? Well, I simulate sex while wearing a panda costume.
Listen,
Because
I'm
the
still
pandas
paying off my
are
6-year
too goddamn
college degree.
stupid to realize, oh, this is where the penis goes.
Oh, God.
So you have to show them this weird panda porn in order to even have a chance of them procreating a good chunk of the time in captivity. Also,
Then you get to the point where the panda's like, you know what? This regular human dressed as pandas doesn't work for me. I need to see these humans dressed as pandas start sticking bamboo shoots up some rear end and shit. And then all of a sudden, there's a whole nother fucking
Are
panda
they German
coming in.
pandas?
Yeah.
no, if they were German pandas, then it would be, I need to see this human dressed in a panda suit on a glass table with the other one underneath. But the other thing that makes pandas just useless, in my opinion, is you have a bunch of animals that they're kind of fucked over by their primary food source, like koala bears. Koala bears are kind of fucked due to their primary food source. Their primary food source are eucalyptus leaves. Do you know that eucalyptus leaves are slightly poisonous to koala bears?
I heard.
So
That's great for them.
what happens is that koala bears, they consume eucalyptus leaves, and then they have to have this like fermentation chamber as part of their digestion, which is able to break down most of the poison, but not all of the poison. The result is that they're somewhat high the entire time that they're alive, because they're slightly poisoned the entire time that they're alive. And it is just enough to kind of fuck with their mental faculties. So they're kind of fucked over just based on what they have to eat. Do you want to hear the fucked up thing about pandas just eating bamboo?
They don't need to?
Most species, the reason why they eat what they eat is because it's what their body is able to actually eat. And you have like standard bears, for instance, are subsiding on omnivorous diets. They're able to eat meat, they're able to eat plant vegetation, and a host of other things. So what do they eat? Well, they eat meat, they eat plant vegetation, and a whole host of other things. You have other animals that are obligate carnivores. You have big cats are probably the best example of obligate carnivores because they need to eat meat in order to survive. And they have almost no ability to digest plant matter. So they have a very high meat diet. Then you have other animals. The great apes, gorillas are a fantastic example of this. Gorillas have a mainly herbivorous diet with a little bit of animal matter in it. So they have mainly herbivores. They eat a lot of leaves. They eat a lot of roots, things like that. But then they also eat insects, and very rarely they will eat some other sort of animal matter. Giant pandas. So based on raw biology, do you think that they fall into the group of obligate carnivore, obligate herbivore, or a omnivore?
I think they eat potatoes.
That would make them more intelligent than they are. Because
Are they an omnivore?
Whoa.
yes, they're an omnivore, and what is more, you can kind of tell based on the teeth and digestive system of an animal which way it should lean, because you have the true omnivores that they should have about a mix of each, a fairly equal mix of each, where they get about half of their calories from meat, about half of their calories from vegetation. You have others that skew one way or the other. Like I said, you have great apes, gorillas especially. Their digestive system and teeth make it fairly clear that they're supposed to have primarily herbivorous diets with a small amount that is non-herbivorous. Panda bears are supposed to have about a 50-50. Do you know what pandas actually eat?
Just bamboo shoots?
Damn near 100% bamboo. Do you know what their body is ridiculously bad at processing?
Oh, let me guess. Bamboo shoots.
Exactly. So,
Oh,
panda bears
no.
that have a body that is designed to eat both meat and vegetation, and it's supposed to be in a fairly equal mix, but it is, like a lot of omnivores, kind of poor at processing grass, because grass has the wrong type of sugars, consumes, I think it's more than its body weight in a big grass. Because bamboo is really just a big fucking bit of grass.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this animal is too stupid to survive. It has chosen extinction, and we're trying to prevent it from being able to follow through on its choice.
I mean, they are kind of cute looking.
If you like them because they're cute looking, just go for red pandas. Red pandas aren't retarded. Red
They're
pandas
delightful.
Yes.
Yeah, but they're not quite the same. Come on, let's be realistic here. At least a little bit, right?
Red pandas are intelligent. They're kind of playful. They have fun. They are actually able to survive left alone.
Yeah, but I saw this one video of this panda, and he was just rolling around, and he was just rolling and rolling, and rolling and rolling, a couple of times more, a little bit rolling, and it was so cute. I think we need more of them. A lot
That's
more.
like saying that sunfish are cute because they get just bob around on the oceanic currents. Yeah, that's because that's all it does.
Well,
It bobs
you know,
around on the oceanic currents.
hey, if I
It doesn't
walk
have
along a
control
path
over
and-
where it goes.
If I walk along a path and I see a rose, I don't disturb it. I don't want to let it do its thing. So if I see a panda rolling around, let him roll. If I see a sunfish doing its thing, hey, let it do its thing.
See, my hatred for pandas isn't as much as my hatred for sunfish, because yeah, I'm perfectly fine just leaving pandas be. I'm just advocating against this massive push in order to sustain the panda population. Because if they've chosen not to fuck and they're eating the least efficient food source that they can, that's on them. Fuck them. Sunfish, I am going a damn sight further than that, because it isn't just, oh yeah, leave them be. If they survive, they survive. If they die, they die. No, sunfish, just hunt them to extinction because the fuckers are an abomination. Get rid of them. I don't care if they're able to continue reproducing. I don't care if they would have a stable population of oceanic retards. Kill them off. Get rid of them. That's my take on sunfish. It's kind of like how
it's a bit
mosquitoes.
extreme.
Just kill
Just let them
mosquitoes.
die off,
That's the thing. That is the most annoying thing about them. They reproduce at such a fast rate
Yeah.
that even though the vast majority of sunfish die, there's still fucking sunfish.
it's like that with a lot of animals. They breed a lot and they die a lot too.
Yeah, but the other animals, they at least serve some purpose. They have some use in the greater scheme of things. They aren't just too big to kill. Because that's where a lot of sunfish lie. They just keep on growing and growing and growing. And they reach a certain point where they are too big to easily kill. It's not that they have any defense other than just being fucking enormous. They can't swim faster than anything. Like I said, their fins don't even fucking work. They just kind of sit there, and their only thing that makes them survive is that you have to eat so much of them to actually kill them that no animal is willing to do so because they're riddled with parasites.
Oh, no.
So yes, this has been a absolute fucking spurg out against sunfish and pandas.
Yeah.
But
And all the while, the fucking emus are taking over Australia. So
no, I have respect for an animal that's able to take over. I'm perfectly fine with emus. You're never going to see panda bears take over. They don't even fuck each other. You're not going to see sunfish take over. They're just going to take up space.
dude, would pandas take over China?
No, because in order to take over China, they would have to reproduce at an appreciable rate. The orangutans are probably going to be the ones to take over something.
Ranting is taking over fucking India or some shit.
Well, I've told you guys, the orangutans have entered the Stone Age.
Yes, they have. They've mastered tool works.
Yeah, we have evidence that orangutans are making stone hand tools. And I don't mean that they're picking up a rock and using it to hit something else.
No,
Monkeys have been doing that for fucking ages. I mean that they've made stone hand axes.
yeah. Now, there's cause for concerns, people. they've mastered fucking stonework.
I don't know. I honestly wouldn't mind orangutans hanging around.
No, you wouldn't. Get out of here. You wouldn't want Dr.
They are.
Zayas.
They're lovely.
I'm perfectly fine with orangutans entering the Stone Age. I find it interesting. Do you know how long it's been since the last time that humans had any sort of real competition?
Mhm.
You want the competition between fucking. Dude, you just want Planet of the Apes. Get out of here.
I want the competition, and really, ideally, I want camaraderie.
I agree.
I want there to be another intelligent species.
Hold on. Camaraderie.
Orangutans achieve interstellar space travel before humans who've been working on it for generations. They're like, peace, we're out.
What if happened to
That would
dinosaurs?
only-
This happened to dinosaurs. They went out to space,
that would only happen if we continue on with a lot of the same shit that we're currently doing. Because if this is one thing that another spurg out inbound, just to give everyone a heads up. One of the things that absolutely enrages me is the fact that we had such a long pause in space exploration and interest. Because do you guys know where a good chunk of that pause came from? Do you know why that pause was there?
No, not that I remember.
It's a refrain that keeps on popping up. now as well, which is, why are we spending all this money on space when we have poor people?
Oh, fuck off. It's what budget is for.
And the thing that really pisses me off about it is, a good chunk of the time it's phrased as, why are we spending so much money on space? We have people that aren't able to get food on Earth. We have poor people on Earth. And I'm going, listen, you motherfucker. In order to get to Mars, there's 2 technologies that we will absolutely need. There is no way that we could get to Mars without these 2 technologies.
Yeah.
One is much longer food preservation. The other is much more efficient ability to grow food in inhospitable environments.
Yeah.
Guess what happens when we get both those technologies? Do you think that they'll just be reserved for space travel? Fuck no, they won't.
I don't know, but I want to know when the hell fucking there a panda came on the show. I just noticed that.
I don't know.
Oh fuck!
Leave it to an animal that has 2 A's in its name to not know where to stick an A in any other word.
Wait, what?
2 A's, he means.
That was a lot of.
Panda are smart. Are smart.
Yes, it is Pandar Smirt. But when you get those 2 technologies, you'll have much longer food preservation, which means we currently have certain portions of the world that are able to produce a ridiculous amount of food.
Yeah.
The US produces an obscene amount of food. It's one of the reasons why, unlike a good chunk of the planet, and unlike the sum total of human history, the mark of being on the lower end of the socioeconomic strata in the US is being obese. Do you understand how fucking weird that is?
Yeah, actually, when you put it that way, that's twisted in logic.
We've reached a point that we have such overwhelming excess for food that if you're poor, you have a ridiculously high calorie diet, you drink a fair bit of alcohol, and you have way too much sugar.
Mm-hmm.
We're having poor people die of diseases that only kings would have in the past.
Oh, like the gout.
Yes, gout used to be called one of the diseases of royalty.
Because it's from over excess of food and
Oh
not
shit!
moving.
Hold on.
It's over excessive fatty meat, you know.
we just opened up a side quest of like, oh yes, and now this is how a lot of kings portrayed themselves with small feet in their portraits because they had the goat.
Well, a lot of our poor live better than the kings did in the past. Our poor lives better than some, rich people in other countries.
Our
Oh,
poor live better than the rich people did just a few generations ago.
Oh
Yeah.
no, but then we might have a connection with diabetes.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah, like I said, it's
the sugarfoot.
like I said, we have poor people dying of diseases that used to just be the diseases of kings. We have poor people that have gout. That is ridiculous on a human history analysis, because that, like I said, used to be kings. Because how do you get gout? You drink wine, and other alcohols. You eat a lot of red meat and fatty foods.
Yeah. How many people suffer from fatty livers from overindulgence?
Yep. That was, again, something that used to be something that would only happen to people extremely high up in society. Now, American poor people have that.
Yeah.
Diabetes, at least type 2 diabetes, acquired diabetes, was something that only the insanely wealthy could have ever had at earlier points in human history.
Oh, I hope we can swing this around and make it funny again. This is- we're delving into it. Really.
Now
Um,
our poor people have it. It's ridiculous. So we have areas of the earth that produce absolutely amazing quantities of food. And then we have other parts of earth that produce pretty much fuck all when it comes to food. If we have increased storage for the food that's produced, it means that we could actually get the food from the areas that produce massive quantity of food to the areas that don't really produce food. And we would be able to do so in a time scale where the food doesn't rot before that and also make it cost effective. So now areas that don't really have enough food have enough food. That's fucking awesome. Also, I mentioned the other technology of being able to produce food in areas where you can't normally produce food, like a space shuttle, like on fucking Mars itself. Guess where that could also be used? Places where you can't normally produce food on Earth.
Or over farmed land, even.
Yep.
Because of some crop that ended up destroying it because they didn't, properly take care of the soil.
Yep. So we'd be able to start.
Mining areas. Oh, abandoned mining areas where it wouldn't necessarily be safe to grow.
Or the most inhospitable areas to try to grow food. If we got that tech, we could have a place that grows food in the middle of the fucking Sahara. We could have the ability to grow food smack dab in the middle of the Atacama Desert. For those who don't know, the Atacama Desert is the driest place on Earth.
Well, we do algae farms to make that into food.
Yep. There's a whole bunch of different techs that you have to get in order to do space exploration that you can then use on Earth. And guess what? Those poor people that you're saying that we shouldn't invest in space technology because we need to deal with these poor people. By investing with space technology, we deal with those poor people.
Well, our technology is how we're going to evolve now, mostly.
To a fair degree, yeah. We've thwarted evolution in a large degree because there's a bunch of people that would have at any other point in human history died off that aren't.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But we keep on having these people that every time that people are donating money or putting money towards scientific advancement, there's the refrain of, what about the poor people? The way that we help the poor people is through tech. It's one of the main reasons why the US has this ridiculous abundance to the point where our poor people are living better than the wealthy people a few generations back is because of technology and how everything got cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. Where, other than the West, do poor people, the vast majority of them have cell phones, vast majority of them have air conditioners, vast majority of them have refrigerators, televisions, cars? Go back just a few generations and no poor person had any of those.
It was hard enough to afford a horse,
Yeah, go back to any other part of the earth or world outside of the West, and poor people don't have most of those. One of the exceptions is Japan. Japan has poor people in Japan typically have cell phones, typically have refrigerators, typically have air conditioning. They have all the same stuff because Japan, much like the West, has the technology. They produce this shit in a massive quantity to the point where the price dipped down until poor people can actually buy it.
Yeah. Being able to produce things easily helps with that,
And yeah, it isn't that everyone has air conditioning, but even in the US, when you're looking at the rate of air conditioning among the different economic levels,
Mhm.
the rate of air conditioning is almost identical among all the different levels of income,
Yeah.
which is amazing. And would not have been the case. Hell, when I was growing up, that wasn't the case.
I didn't have air conditioning living in South Texas when I was growing up.
Yeah.
But it was windy, so it was fine. You know?
Yeah. And again, despite sounding like I don't know how many centuries old, like a Dumbledore-esque character, I'm only 30-something. I'm a young 30-something.
He just acts like an old man, that's all. You know?
Adam has met me. He can attest that I'm a giant dwarf and I'm not old.
You're what?
I'm a giant dwarf and I'm not old.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I was just I guess I'll just fucking say it. I saw in chat Terry was there. Hey Terry.
Yep. Hello, Terry.
You know I love Terry, so
No, he's all right.
Oh, get out of here.
And now there's Assassin of the Grey with Old Dwarf is Old. And
Yeah.
an old dwarf would be old, but I am not an old dwarf. Therefore, I am not old. I'm a giant dwarf. There's a difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, eventually, I will become a giant old dwarf, but that time has not yet come.
Hey, speaking of which, dude, you gonna come down for a run fair? I think me, you, and Quizzy should go out for a run fair.
When does Ren Fair start down there?
I don't know. Isn't it like in the fall? Right in the fall?
I don't know. Different areas have different times for their Ren Fairs. Normally, it's either in like early to mid spring, or it's in mid to late fall.
Yeah, I'll look it up and plan it out. I think it's in the fall area, but yeah, for sure. But it's in Wisconsin, so
Ah,
so it's one of those.
so it'll be kind of like a MythCon sort of deal.
Yeah. MythCon. Oh yeah.
MythCon was fantastic. We need to have another Minion Con too.
Yeah. It'll be fun.
And god damn it, Terry. Poor kids are just as tasty and just as delicious as white kids. Joe Biden, probably.
Yeah. Makes sense. But I've never been to Renaissance Fair though, so.
Ren fairs are fun. Though, I would have to decide if I'm going to the Ren Fair. Do I go all out? And do I don my gambeson and my hauberk? Because I have a blackened chain hauberk, and I do have a decent gambeson.
Well, hold on. I mean, if you're going to a run fair, I didn't know you had to dress up.
You don't have to, but it's a choice.
Okay, well, well, that's my stance. I'm not gonna dress up. So, if you want to dress up, go ahead. Go all out.
Oh, Sanguine, did you ever get your longbow that you've been waiting for?
Yes,
Yeah.
I have my longbow,
Okay.
and it is rather beautiful. The one problem that I have is the place that I got my longbow from no longer provides longbow arrows. So I need to find a place that has arrows that are long enough and are able to survive a high enough pull.
Yeah.
To actually be able to dick around with my longbow.
You can't try to make your own?
Well, the thing is that I would need to learn fletching, and then I'd
Yeah.
need to figure out the proper thickness, because if you fire an arrow that is not rated for the poundage, what happens is the arrow will snap as it is being launched,
Oh.
potentially shooting just a cloud of splinters and perhaps damaging the bow.
Welcome back, Sora. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry,
So-
had to leave for the dogs.
That's okay.
Whoa! Hey, you have to check your toaster.
I'm
no,
now
right.
concerned.
I forgot to do
What?
that. I'll be right back.
I'm now concerned whether Adam is referring to cooking a hot dog in a toaster, or if he has a habit of sticking small dogs in toasters.
No, that's when you gotta.
I mean, I cook hot dogs in a toaster oven because it comes out crispy, you know.
That's different
Wait,
than a toaster itself.
wait, how do you
Yeah.
cook hot dogs in a toaster? That sounds weird.
Yeah, that's
just
why
stick
I
it in
was
there.
confused. In a toaster oven,
Well, yeah, you stick them in there. All right. My checking on toaster was me taking a piss. I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about either, though, so we were going with the
Oh,
joke, you know.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Okay.
whatever you do, don't try cooking your hot dogs in your toaster. It is a bad idea.
Yes.
You could buy this thing to cook waffles in a toaster, but they don't come out crispy either. They just come
Yeah.
out spongy.
If you want waffles, just get a fucking waffle iron.
Yeah.
You can get a cheap waffle iron, and it works like a dream.
Yeah.
Or you can go for one of the higher end waffle irons, and you pay more for those, but those also work like a dream. Shit, you can just go for one of the cast iron stovetop ones.
And you can always try making my my honey and peanut butter waffles too, you know. Great video.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, thank you, Terry. Yeah, dude. Hey, man. You know what? I'm sending you some money, Western Union, to save in the fight against the emus. God bless you, sir. I got your back.
Checking the toaster comes from you being on a quiz stream.
Yeah, you gotta check out Minions of the Zoo on Mondays, with Quiz, and Quiz paints these figures of Warhammer, and I hang out and spout some nonsense. Sometimes when I have to go piss, I say I gotta go check my toaster.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where the phrase comes from.
Also, don't piss in your toaster. That's a bad idea.
Yeah,
And
that is
if you have
a horrible idea.
stable enough of a stream, you could give yourself a nasty shock.
Yeah, you might actually hurt yourself. So
Yeah.
probably not a good idea to do that.
Yeah.
I don't
Unless you
know.
want to have that kind of shock, you know.
I mean, if you like it, I mean, who am I to say?
There's some weird kinks out there, you know.
That's
If you
your
like
toaster.
it, then you need to be a bit more careful. Don't use a toaster. Get the proper current level, because you don't want too much, or else you'll start cooking yourself. You don't want the danger zone of you'll just electrocute yourself. You want it to be in that range where it is just enough for you to feel and not enough to kill you, nor enough to cause serious burns. That's the tip for.
Yeah,
tip
120
for
line's
today.
fine. You can survive that. I used to
You can-
put wall outlets in without turning the power off. Get shocked every now and then.
Come on.
But, well, the 120 is fine. It won't kill you.
I've
It's
stabbed
240.
an outlet the wrong way
Yeah.
before and gotten a
Hold
little.
on, hold on. I didn't even think about the voltage. What voltage is So, yes, you're right.
Well,
Probably
voltage-
12 volt, maybe.
voltage
Well,
and
hold
current go
on.
hand in hand.
Oh my. I don't know. Oh, shit. What were we talking about before this sausage?
Playing with toasters.
Shocking. Yeah, what the fuck?
That's how it happens here, random. We go on
No, it's
different
not.
tangents.
That doesn't. Okay.
But yes, does anyone have a thing that they want to talk about? Anything that they want to rant about? Considering I just looked at the time and apparently I spent about an hour just going off on random topics in a non-stop just
That's usually
flow
what we do
of
every stream, though,
consciousness.
don't we? We do that at every stream.
Normally, it's a few people go on in
Yeah.
random tangents. Today, it was just one thing after another made me spurg out.
Yeah, just sometimes
Well-
it's better that you spurg sometimes,
So, Canada's having a chip war.
Oh,
I don't know if you guys know, but
is it
the
potato
f-
chips
the
or potato
Frito
chips?
the potato chips
Okay.
Frito-Lay company
Oh.
was targeting Loblaws, which is like a small chain, to start increasing their prices for their chip brands. But they did not request this, or they weren't charging the other larger box stores like Walmart yet. So Loblaws has started to pull off Frito-Lay products off the shelves, and it's gotten very heated.
Okay.
So the Great Chip War of 2022 has started.
Yay. The war, food, especially food war.
Yeah, well, it's
Also-
one of those things, they increase increase of pricing for employees and manufacturing and chain. Basically all the same things that have been happening to other things are affecting the chip market. Apparently, the chocolate chip, the potato chip variety. And so they're like, well, you're going to have to meet inflation and all this sort of stuff by raising for like a family bag size to, it's like $6+ for Lay's. And they're like, no, Loblaws like, no, we're not going to increase our pricing. It's ridiculous. Why are you targeting us specifically? Because they hadn't gone for the other brands, right? It should be, we'll increase the prices if you increase across the board. You tell every single retailer, like the big box stores, to also increase their prices, make it fair. And Frito-Lay is like, nah, man, I don't know. So they're like, okay, well, just pull your chips off the shelf. So they've got rid of them.
Nice. And yeah, it really should be not so much Lay's having to go to the people and say, okay, you need to increase how much you sell our chips for. It should be the individual companies going, okay, so in order to restock Lay's chips, it now costs this amount. So our standard markup was this, apply that, and this is the new price.
Yeah.
But it's also like, I was reading a little bit more on it. So on the other hand side, so, on the PepsiCo, which is the parent company of Frito-Lay, on their side is basically they, as the manufacturer, are saying like, well, you guys are kind of undercutting us. You are screwing up with, there's a suggested retail price, right, on almost everything from the manufacturer's suggested retail price, and that takes into account, the manufacturing chain, the manpower it took to create that, sourcing materials, etc., for the most part. And so the reason we increased that is, supply and demand, having issues with getting supplies, etc. And so like, well, you can't just sell undercut everything. So we'll see what'll happen with that. Because a lot of these companies have their own brand, like they have their in-house brand that makes chips and stuff. So for me, it doesn't bother me either way. Is there a bag of potato chips of any brand? Sure, I'll buy it.
If they're undercutting the suggested retail price, that would have to mean that they are taking a smaller profit margin themselves, not that Lay's is taking a smaller profit margin because they buy their chips from Lay's and then they put out the chips that you then purchase. So would say that you should probably have like a 15% markup, and another company goes, we're fine with a 10% markup. So we'll buy chips from you and then we'll sell those chips at a 10% markup rather than a 15% markup. That's them deciding that they'll take less, not deciding that Lay's takes less. So how the fuck is that even Lay's position to say? And that's the part that confuses me. Unless rather than them paying for the chips that they sell, they're instead going a day about things, and I'm not sure how one would do that.
It's it'll be interesting to see if that'll according, because I didn't know this, so I was looking it up. Loblaws controls 35%. Uh-oh.
Yeah,
we lost our host. Uh-oh. Does that mean we're going to disappear?
No, they'll stay on. So, just the whole show till he gets back.
Well, for those who don't know, Loblaws owns like a third of our grocery store ISK marketplace. So like about 35 to 36%, something like that, of the grocery market here in Canada.
And that's a grocery store? Lobos?
Yeah, they own grocery stores. They own like big box. Well, it's not really a big box store. It's like a drug store, but some of the locations also have a grocery store attached to it.
Oh, okay.
I don't quite know how to explain. It's not a Walmart, so don't think Walmart size at all.
Okay.
Think like CVS.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or Walgreens with like a grocery store attached. Some of them, not all of them. But yeah, so it's big thing because I was talking with my friends here because I was like, oh, it's exciting. Something that's kind of stupid sounding on the face of it, right? But it's at least it's not more horrible news of the world.
Yeah, it's just little businesses getting fights. It's not politics, you know.
Oh, Costin was talking about no frills. I love no frills. No frills is awesome. It's one of the grocery stores offshoots of Loblaws. It's really good. It has like when growing up, if you wanted to throw a party, all the cheap like pop and chips, you go to no frills because it'd be like $1 for 2 bags and like $1 for 2 liters of their flavor of their brand of pop, which is like No Name. That's the brand. The brand's name is No Name brand, and it's really good. I think it's very good.
They have a store called Winco right here. It's kind of the same thing. It's cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's employee owned, so I guess they just get enough to pay off the employees and the food.
Mm.
Like they put them in bags?
The wooden bags.
The pop?
Yeah.
Oh, like the milk?
Well, yeah.
Oh, shit, like milk?
But it's in bubble bags.
The fuck is a bubble bag?
Well, you need a bubble bag for fizzy drinks, right? It maintains the bubble.
Yeah, so the air doesn't escape from it,
You don't want your soda going flat before you drink it.
Well, I being asked, where did you ever find that chili lime seasoning?
No.
No.
There's a couple of other places, like there's a an international food, like sort of like chef gourmet marketplace
Okay.
that I haven't gone to yet. I think they have it.
Okay.
But
That should be good.
they don't have like a website where you can order things from, but they have like, they tell you what they have there, and seeing the extent of spices, there's no way they don't have it there. So
they should.
it's a bit of a drive for me, and it's one of those things where it's like, do I want to in these times drive all the way there? Yeah. But it's one of those things, is when I get the kick, I want to get that, I know where to try next.
Okay. Let's switch your work schedule. It's kind of hard to get go places, right?
It's one of those things where then you're stuck on the weekend driving out.
Yeah.
There we go.
And welcome back.
Oh dear, he's back.
Yeah, my internet decided to shit the bed because it lost track of the DNS server.
Oh.
Oh.
I thought we were there.
Yep, it was able to recover, but it just took some time.
Kokono is asking, why would your soda be going flat before you drank it? Well, if you don't put it in a bubble bag and you put it in a regular bag, it will go flat.
Yeah, because it's not really airtight.
You need this special bubble bag.
Okay, Canada doing bagged milk was weird enough. Canada does bagged soda as well?
Well,
I seen a picture.
I seen a
picture of peanut butter on the styrofoam tray with wrapped cellophane.
Stop.
I mean,
it's probably cheaper that way, Packaging.
That's just wrong. Keep a container, a proper container, a bottle of soda. Don't put soda in a bag.
Well, Source is cheaper because the container costs. That's where most money comes
right,
from.
and you can the transportation costs goes down.
Yeah.
It's just wrong. It is wrong on too many levels. Plus, the bag is more likely to explode than a bottle.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you put the zest in your day.
At least you don't have a CRV tax out there, right? Because in California, you get to pay like extra 10 cents for every bottle or can.
I'm pretty sure Canada has a VAT, don't they?
Wait, do they?
Wait, what does Canada have?
Yeah, a VAT, right?
A bat?
VAT. VAT. A value added tax.
Added tax?
Yeah, well, because here in California, there's something called a CRV, which adds 10 cents to every soda or can or bottle you buy, and beer as well, to help you promote recycling it, so you get your money back.
We've got recycling fee and an eco fee.
Oh. Okay, so you do have that.
For some reason, I thought that you guys also had a VAT like the UK does.
I mean, you have your provincial sales tax, you have your federal sales tax, and depending, I don't know how many provinces still have the harmonized sales tax.
So if you can sing in tune with them, you pay a different tax, or is it if you can't, then you pay a different tax?
It's whether you do or you don't, you pay it.
How's that harmonizing then?
It is for them.
But there's a difference.
And then there's also, if you park, so
parking tax.
Parking tax. There is I can't remember. I don't know what the percentage is here, but a part of that goes towards paying for transit. So you'll say it's I don't know, $6 an hour for parking.
Oh, geez.
Oh, that's cheap, by the way.
Oh,
That's
really?
yeah, that's cheap. So he's like, okay, $6 an hour. Okay, I'll pay for an hour, but you're actually paying like closer to 8 because of the added taxes on it.
Wow.
That's great.
Man, Canada really just lives in a world of fuck you, why are you here?
Well, a lot of this is provincial, so this is just West Coast shit. Like our fuel right now, today it hit $2 a liter.
Oof.
So
Yeah,
I
that-
haven't filled up yet because it hurts too much.
Well, it's 5 for a gallon here in California.
Yeah, but the
a
thing
gallon
is,
though.
yeah, I was about to point out, you just said it in gallons.
Yeah, I
She
know.
said it in liters. It
How many
doesn't
liters in a
sound as
gallon?
bad when you're saying it in liters.
Well, how
When-
many liters in a gallon again? I always forget.
3.5. I don't know.
Okay.
Something like
I
that.
think it's more than that. Let me quickly double
Maybe
check.
4.
Yeah, I always
I think
forget too.
it's 4 and change.
Wow.
We pay one of the highest additional taxes on fuel. That's why it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Because the part of the tax for the fuel goes towards paying for transit.
ATI counts at 3.8.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. I thought it was somewhere around 4.
Wow.
Cannibalistic Wizard says I ride the bus. Yeah. Come April, I will probably renew my monthly bus pass.
Well, see where I live, the closest.
It's not worth it.
So
anymore.
yeah, for those that were playing along at home, that means that the 2 something a liter means like $7 or $8
Yeah.
a gallon.
Sheesh.
I think, are we on par with the UK? I don't think it's that bad. I think the UK had it pretty bad.
Well, they don't make their own gasoline. That's why they got to import all the gasoline, and that
They
causes
have,
price goes up.
Yep. And
Doesn't Scotland have
they have offshore,
offshore?
but
Yeah.
the Scottish government decided that, yeah, we have this massive reserve of offshore. No one's allowed to drill it.
Yeah.
Okay. No, whatever.
You got to use
That'll
Russian
do.
oil first.
You have to buy in your gas from elsewhere in order to save the environment.
Ugh.
That's the part that always kills me about those sorts of moves, because I'm going, okay, so you want us to buy in fuel from an area with fewer environmental restrictions, so
Mhm.
their entire process of getting the fuel is going to be much dirtier than our version of it would be.
Yeah.
That then has to be put on board massive ships in order to be brought to us,
Mhm.
which again will cause more pollution than producing it internally, because transport costs energy. So they're burning fuel to transport the fuel so that you can then buy the fuel. And then not only are you going to have all that retardation, but you're now buying it in from another nation, and most of the nations that you're buying it in from hate you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Why the fuck are we backing up these economies that hate us? Why
We use their
not?
oil first. so
Because potato.
Why not produce the fuel at a lower economic impact for more fuel here at home, and then rather than paying for the economies that hate us, we instead decide, hey, fuck you guys. You want to sell it at this price? We'll sell it at this price. And help our own economy while fucking over the people that hate us, and also doing it more environmentally consciously than they were doing it.
They get pissed off because they're blaming the oil prices on Ukraine, but Biden shut down the Keystone Pipeline his first fucking day.
Yep.
It's like, God damn, you know.
He shut down the Keystone Pipeline. He then went against all the different measures that were allowing for more pipelines and more drilling and fracking and all that shit. He shut down most of that, which meant that, okay, so you've already made it so that fuel is more expensive to transport by shutting down the pipeline, and now you're making it so that the supply is actually going to be smaller than it would have been had you not done any of this shit, which means that the price goes up again, and now we're having to buy it in from people who hate us, so they already add on a, oh, this is America, increase the price.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow you don't realize how retarded this is. What the fuck?
Well, they can't see the bigger picture, I guess. Or think
Or
far
they
enough ahead.
see it and they're getting paid enough to look the other way.
Yeah, just that too.
We got sad again.
Or they see it and it's just what they kind of wanted anyways, so fuck everyone else.
Yeah. Once they get what they want, I guess that's all that matters.
Yeah, it just infuriates me because there's no good reason for it. If you're saying, well, you want to be greener, okay, so you have the countries that have access, that care about environmental regulations, be the ones that provide the fuel, because they were provided in the most green manner that they can. You don't have the nations that couldn't give a shit about green regulations produce the fuel,
Mhm.
because, as I just said, they don't give a shit about green regulations. Why would they produce it in a green manner?
Yeah.
And again, if you really care about green energy and transitioning away from fossil fuels, nukes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
With methane, right, it's fine, you know.
Better, safer nuke plants produce more energy. It has, not only is it a hell of a lot greener than pretty much every other energy generation method, but also it has a really nice side effect. I've mentioned this before. Have you guys ever looked at the charts of kilowatt per death?
No, I haven't.
No.
So there's a fantastic chart that was put out, which is the kilowatt hour per death. And it looks at how much energy is generated per person that ends up dying in the process of generating that energy.
Yeah.
Certain ones will be no surprise. Coal, for instance, produces a lot of energy, but a lot of people die in mining out the coal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a whole bunch of weird things that can happen when mining coal. So it has a rather low kilowatt per death score.
Mm-hmm.
Other ones are rather interesting, like wind power has a rather low kilowatt per death, which means that it has a lot of deaths for little energy. Whereas, do you guys know what's pretty much on the top of the charts every time? There's two power sources that are always towards the top in the amount of power generated with the fewest number of deaths per generated power.
I almost say nuke and hydro, but I don't know.
Yes, you got it right. It is
Okay.
nuke and hydro, and they keep on swapping every so often.
Oh.
So sometimes hydro has more power, fewer deaths. Sometimes nuke has more power, fewer deaths.
Is that based on like weather patterns?
It's based on weather patterns and also if there's been any issue. Like if it's a year where there was a hell of a lot of flooding,
Mm-hmm.
then hydro gets kind of fucked with that.
Yeah.
Because it's more likely someone will be trying to open a sluice gate
Yeah.
and get swept away.
Yeah. Whoops. Yeah.
Or if there was any really big issue with a mining effort to extract radioactive material, that will also cause issues. So, depending on if there's any big weather pattern that fucks up hydro, or any real big like earthquake at the wrong time that can fuck up nuclear. But otherwise, those two are always at the top of the charts because they generate massive amounts of power with very few deaths. And solar is also up towards the top, but solar has the problem that renewable energy always has of you either produce a fuck ton of power or you produce no power.
Yeah.
And we don't really have a way
Of storing it.
So that when you aren't producing power, you're still good to go because you produce that fuck ton, so you're just eating into a reserve of power. Which is why Germany has this nasty habit of either it is buying in a massive amount of energy, or it is selling off at very low price a massive amount of energy.
Well, I know they have blackouts in UK because of tea time.
Say again?
Well, in UK, they have blackouts during a certain time every day.
Oh, because there weren't people manning the generators?
No, because of tea time. Everybody in the nation would turn on the electric kettle to have tea at the same time.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of weird stats that people really should look at when you're talking about energy, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
And like I said, that death per kilowatt hour should be one of the ones that everyone looks to go, okay, what is the safest energy generation method? First, which energy generation methods are kind of shit? And wind, like I said, is really shit for the amount of energy that it generates.
Yeah, but you can't build turbines too close together because of the wind velocity thing.
Yep. And the reason why wind is really shit is it actually has a fair number of deaths due to the rare earth metals that it needs in order to function properly.
Yeah.
And I would assume to clean those turbines too.
Yep, that's one of the other major problems is to clean, especially de-ice turbines.
Yeah.
Is where a lot of the deaths come from. Because if you're de-icing a turbine and you move in the wrong way, hit a patch of ice, that's a long way down in a very short period of time.
Uh-huh.
Well, how do you guys feel about extreme activities? Like caving?
Spelunking?
Yeah. I've been watching YouTube videos.
I did pseudo spelunking, and no thank you. I don't mind being in the cave. That's not the problem.
Yeah.
For me, it was, well, what I had to lower myself without light until I had to feel my way down, and it was basically you lower yourself down without having wall around you until you get to a certain crevice, and then it narrowed. And then there was a ledge down below that you could sit on and then push yourself off. And by the time you hit the ground, there was a little bit of light, so you could make your way out of the cave. But that lowering yourself down into the unknown, no thank you. I don't need to do it again.
Yeah.
So what made it pseudo splunking?
Well, it was through school, so we had people paying attention and extra rope and everything like that. So it wasn't really like if you were an actual spelunker and did your own stuff. Okay. Like there was no danger whatsoever.
It was splunking with supervision.
Exactly. So okay. I would and the at the end of the day, the drop wasn't that far. Really, you could seriously hurt yourself if something happened. You probably break a bone, but I doubt you'd die.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out how you have a pseudo cave or anything like that.
It was too much under supervision for it to have gone wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Or at least to have gone horribly wrong.
Horribly wrong, exactly. Now, there was one of the activities that we were supposed to do, which was rappelling off the side of a cliff and then lowering down 10 meters. Was it 10? The
What
10
fucking
meters?
school did you go to where you're learning this cool shit?
Every year we had to do outdoor education, and that was in my graduating year. It was outdoor camping, so we did
Okay.
that. Well, we had the fun side. That part I didn't like, but then we did like canoeing and hiking and that kind of stuff. That was fun. I love
Like
that.
I said,
I am happy
badass
as a
school.
as a fish in water when I'm on the water. Happy as a sunfish.
It's in there floating around, huh?
Happy as a sunfish, so you don't
Yeah.
know where you are, you don't know what's happening.
It's great.
You're just kind of
I'm just
getting
sort of
swept
floating
along.
there in the middle of
What's like going down the
free climb. Was that?
and
Oh no,
wondering
that's
what that strange tickling sensation is on your frontal lobe.
Oh, and you see a bit. Is that my head floating there? How funny.
What's like floating down on the river on a tube, just hanging out there drinking beer,
I would love to do that. That sounds like on a lazy river. That
Yeah.
sounds nice.
Mhm.
Very relaxing. But see, I like being on the water. I'm comfortable swimming, so for me, I prefer water to rock.
Mm.
I'm not the best swimmer.
For me, I'm perfectly fine in the water, on the water, no problem with that. When it comes to rocks, perfectly fine with that, as long as I can turn around. If I can turn around,
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine.
Yeah.
If I reach a point where I can't turn, then that starts to bother me.
Yeah.
You feel trapped?
It's somewhat like feeling trapped. It's more just I don't like having that little space. I can deal with very close in spaces.
Mhm.
It's just when I reach the point where I can't turn around when I want to, that I don't like it because I don't like backing into a place.
Yeah.
Like if I'm decide, oh no, I have to get out. I don't want to have to be crawling backwards and not see where I'm going.
Mhm.
So no
But
caving for you, huh?
At least not cramped caving.
Yeah.
Trying to think of anything fun that we did. My most badass story, like me being at my most badass, actually was one of these outdoor ed trips we had to go on. It was just hiking and it was like coming down from camping. We spent overnight up in the woods, and
Mhm.
then so we had like a 3-hour hike back down. But so we went up an easy way and then we were returning a difficult way, so everybody was like exhausted for not sleeping properly. It was cold, we're all having big packs and everything, and I had fallen down, tripped and fell on some moss. No problem, picked myself up, everything is fine. What I didn't realize is I shredded my knee.
Oh. Ow.
I didn't feel it. I was so tired and it was cold and we're just walking. I didn't realize that, and it felt wet because the ground was wet, right? It was dew. Until someone like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" And of course, that's when you look down and your brain catches up with the injury, and I'm like, it starts smarting because you finally notice that you're injured.
Smarting.
Yeah, because it smarts, it stings. And I was like, "Oh my god!" Everyone's like, "Are you okay?" And we were so far away. There's no way to get there. And of course, there's like minimal first aid. I'm like, "No, no, no! Don't even bother with the band-aids because we had like those tiny band-aids. We didn't even have butterfly band-aids on us. I'm like, fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
Splashed a little bit of water on it and I was fine. But that was
Nice.
that's my most badass moment. Because I am very city. I don't do outdoors.
You mentioning moss just made me remember one of the weirdest things, but it's just one of those things. You know those memories that pop in just because you heard something?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like you were just there again. I just had one of those from when I went to Japan in college. It was a travel course, so going around with two professors and a group of other college students. And one of the professors there was just a very fun but strange man. Not like uncomfortably strange, just he would say things without thinking, and you'd be going, "What the fuck?" Okay. And just roll with it. And he really loved the aesthetic of Japanese shrines and things like that. And he loved how all of them seemed to include moss and tree roots and just beautiful trees. And he was really enjoying that aspect. And we're going to the shrine, and he just sees this absolutely beautiful, mossy section of field with these tree roots just breaking the surface and then delving back down, and absolutely beautiful trees. And he said, "Man, I really have a roner right now." Someone else went, "A roner?" And his response, completely just rolling into it, no pause, was, "Yeah, troner, a moaner, and a roner, the three heads of my hydra boner."
Nice.
And then he explained, "Troners for trees, roners for roots, moaners for moss. Troner, roner, moaner."
Oh my god.
And it was just one of those, what the? Sure, dude, sure.
It's like, do we just nod and play it along and hope he doesn't leave us here dead?
Oh no, we all laughed because, like I said, he was but just kind of funny, strange, where it didn't make you feel uncomfortable when he said weird shit like that. You'd just go,
Right, Johnny.
"Only you, what the fuck?" It's kind of like how you guys probably get with me, where there's certain jokes that if there was you heard someone else say it, you'd be going, "What the fuck?" And then you hear me saying it, and it's just like, "Yeah, that's Sanguine."
What is it? The boy hungry meats and faggots?
Oh, yes, the boy hungry mincing pedophiles.
Yeah.
No.
And another good example is whenever I mention the thing that Inquisitor still needs to finish editing so that people will actually understand what the hell I'm talking about whenever I mention this. He needs to finish editing the Proto Minions recording of what it means to be a queer heterosexual. That's what it was. A queer heterosexual. Which, when we read the article for queer heterosexuality, really just seemed to be that you've had more men enter you than Grand Central Station in its entire history have, and that you are more cum-crusted than the horniest 12-year-old boy's wank sock that he left under the bed so that mom wouldn't
That's
find it.
so gross.
Good
No.
Oh god.
That's apparently what queer heterosexuality means. Also, it means that you're part of a gay dance troupe named High Risk during the height of the AIDS epidemic, and all of the other actions that I just mentioned before that were done entirely without protection, and you aren't sure why everyone assumes that gay men are just absolute man whores.
Hold on, are you reading this off of fucking cue cards?
No.
The
No,
fuck?
this is all free flow consciousness for me.
Good God.
It has just become an ongoing joke ever since that thing was recorded. I wasn't able to speak in the audio recording of that, but I was listening in while I was at work and just occasionally responding with ever more just poetically over the top things that one of the people in the actual Discord conversation would look over at the Discord chat and just go, "What the fuck?" and read off whatever I had said. And I have
That's the
continued
best
that
reaction.
trend. Yeah, I've continued that trend ever since. Every time that I mention it, I just have to come up with some other ridiculous way of phrasing it. So I've said the Grand Central Station lines. I've said you've had more hands inside you than any of the Muppets. I've had lines where you've had hands deeper in you than even a ventriloquist's dummy. There's a whole bunch of different versions of it. You can probably find it just going back into Minions videos. Every time that I mention it, I have to say something over the top because that is the ongoing thing. And it will remain as such.
Absolutely amazing.
It will remain as such at the very least until that video is edited and put up as Minion Deep Lore.
Get on it, quiz.
Everyone needs to know what the fuck I'm talking about, rather than just having to deal with my over-the-top explanations.
Well, we do have a Minion Skep channel, for all that stuff.
This was like a good 2 hours of reading the article where this came from. This was just back in the days before we had decided to do streams.
Yeah.
And we were debating, okay, what do we want to do exactly? Do we just want to read weird articles and react to them and put up edited versions of it? Do we want to do streams? And that was just us kind of sitting in a Discord voice chat late at night, pulling up random things to have a giggle at. So we did queer heterosexuality, we did quantum sexuality. Also, that I referred to as, I think, Schrodinger's faggot. Just pulled up article after article of just the weirdest shit that we could read. Queer heterosexuality, we spent the most time on, just because every line got more insane than the last. And at the end of it, we were still going, where the fuck does the heterosexuality come into this? We got the queer part. That became abundantly clear with all of the orifices and bodily fluids, but where's the heterosexuality?
Where you least expect it.
I can tell you one thing. If heterosexuality could be found up someone's asshole right next to their colon, this man would have found it there.
Well, he wasn't looking deeper.
He also would have had many people find it in him. But that is not where it's found typically, so I have no clue where the heterosexuality of that queer heterosexuality was hidden in this article. Because, good God, it was just effectively a case study for how AIDS spread in the San Francisco and LA gay population. So, that is what that was about. And like I said, it's just one of those memories that pops in.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad it popped in tonight.
Yeah, that just shared.
I just realized something horrible. I am so sorry, chat. I've had you on. I made a boomer. I had you on top chat the whole night.
For shame.
Oh, that was such a boomer move. Holy crap.
And
Sorry.
atheist icon, yes. and so much more. There was one point which was literally about someone inserting a foot.
No. No.
They
No,
did
no,
not
no.
limit their play to just the manual digits.
Oh.
Which is why I've said I normally don't just restrict it to the number of hands that have been in, but the number of limbs. So I think I've said that the people have seen more feet than Footlocker.
Mhm.
And all
Yeah, I
that.
agree, Johnny. Blaze. This is something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why Inquisitor needs to finish editing it.
That is not how you give a foot job.
Wow.
Because right now, it is just trapped in my memory. So I have to share it with these over-the-top versions. Well, not over-the-top versions, but over-the-top phrases to explain what was in it. Because all this shit was in the article that was being read. I'm not adding things to it. I'm not making up anything from the article.
Yeah.
I'm just coming up with the most amusing way of phrasing it. And every time I try to tweak it just a little bit so no two explanations are exactly the same.
That's part of the fun, though.
Yeah, it makes it a game.
Oh, I can't wait to see where this all goes.
To hell.
Oh,
It goes
One
somewhere.
way ticket. First class.
oh shit.
Dreamliner.
That's not a dream of mine.
And I don't think this is how Atheist Icon meant for what he said to be interpreted, but it sounded like anally inserting someone who was racist against hobbits.
Oh, sounds painful.
Foots don't go in the booty holes. Only hobbitses do. It's not
Dude,
Hobbit says.
Hobbit
It's
feet in the booty hole?
hobbits. It's
Well, I was thinking he was doing the Golem thing, but just because that's how Golem said it in the movie.
that would be hobbitses. But
He's
it doesn't say
he's
it's.
playing the pedant game.
Yes. It's like
He's very
racist.
good at it. Veto. I'm sorry, Johnny Blaze. He's vetoing his conversation. All right, let's do something more PG. What's your favorite furry?
What?
There are too few signs.
Oh, jeez.
Clearly, too few signs.
It's like the game Hunt and Snare, you know?
Oh,
Everyone
no.
knows.
We do not bring that up. We do not bring that up to the public.
Yeah.
Everyone knows about all the femboy foxes and all the cat boys and dogs and all that shit. Too few signs.
Well, there's always the
Clearly,
pandas, you know?
I
People need
agree.
to get
There
more
should be more.
signs.
There should be more bears.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one.
Well, bear's taken by a gay hairy man, you know?
Yeah, but that seems like would that be cultural appropriation?
Well, if anything, the Bears appropriated furry culture with the number of gay men in furry culture.
Hmm.
It's just one of those things.
And I've said it before, and it's part of the reason why my ending phrase is what it is. If you're passionate about something, make sure that you devour it. Don't let it devour you. The reason why that became the
You
phrase.
go out there, people, and you devour those furries with
The
consent.
reason that that's the phrase is because of another minion who I will be nice enough not to name names in this case, but you know who you are. You fucking know who you are.
Oh, man.
I had to explain that it is perfectly fine being fascinated about a community. It's perfectly fine being into the community, being part of the community. It becomes a problem when that community becomes your sole character feature.
Yeah.
And it's also the reason why there's another part that gets tacked on, especially if I see Jacob Jet in chat, because Jacob Jet was a witness to me explaining this to this person. And Jacob Jet is a fan of Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
He is not one of the Sonic fans that you would see on like DeviantArt. He's just a fan of Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't a
And we
Christian,
had
you know.
several conversations about the difference between Sonic fans that are all sensible people that just enjoy Sonic games, like most fan cultures,
Mm-hmm.
versus Sonic fans, which are insane, degenerate filth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fan is short for fanatic, you know.
Yes, but there's being a fan of something and
Yeah.
being that fan, and it's when you become defined by that single characteristic. It's the problem with any univariant personality. And unfortunately, you see a lot of univariant personalities currently. The gay person that their sole defining character feature is, I'm the gay one. The women, especially in literature and in movies, and you meet these people in real life every so often, where their sole defining feature of their character is that they're female.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You bore me. Shut up. For the love of God, shut
Oh
up.
my god, though. I'm the girl.
You don't understand what it's like to be a woman.
It's like so like hard.
Yeah. And
So hard.
no one has a problem with a character that is a woman. People have problems with the woman character. No one has a problem with the character who happens to be gay. People have problems with the gay character. And I've used examples to explain the differences before. Rey is one of the women characters.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah Connor is a character that is a woman. Because she had a fuck ton more to her personality other than, did you know I'm female? I'm female. Did you know that I'm female? Yeah, I'm a strong, empowered woman. Yep, I'm definitely a female. Being a female over here, this is important. Did you know I'm a female? Captain
No, I
Marvel,
didn't.
another really good example of the female character.
Which one?
Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah. I can't really comment on that as I haven't seen it, but just from what I've heard, like yeah, it feels like
Avoid
that.
it like the plague unless you really enjoy poorly written. Wait, I'm talking
Apparently,
to
there's
Sora.
a funny cat in there, isn't there?
Sora, I forgot who I was talking to. You do enjoy some really bad,
Yes, I
bad
do.
media.
I
So-
do indeed.
You probably shouldn't be avoiding it like the plague. You should probably watch it. And I'm curious to see if you go, man, that was shit.
Because I genuinely enjoy some terrible things, but I also I enjoy terrible films that are older
Mm-hmm.
because there's an added charm to them.
Oh, yeah. There's a massive difference between a just bad movie that doesn't have any redeeming quality that's brand new and one of the old, like, Plan 9 from Outer Space. Plan 9 from Outer Space is a bad movie. Do not get me wrong. It is a bad movie. The story doesn't work. The acting is god awful, but it has its own charm because it is just so goddamn shit. And you're about to say, Sora?
The one that a lot of people credit as being horrible is the Trolls 2. That's like the that gets memed with the guys like, oh my god,
They're eating
eating
her.
her.
And when they're done,
They're
they'll
gone.
eat me. Oh my god! Yeah, that
That's the one. I on purpose sought it out online and watched it. And I was like, you know what? This is not that bad. I mean, it's terrible, and I can see where all the criticism comes from is just ridiculous. But there's something about it. Something about it is just charming and funny.
it's one of those
I
totally bad movies.
like
Where you can
Birdemic,
tell-
etc. Like I have now seen Birdemic, by the way, like 4 times on purpose. And it's a terrible, it is such a bad movie. It is bad, but at the same time, it's just like, I know I watched it. I've watched it through already. I just put it on again. Versus actually choosing like a blockbuster movie, because there's something when a real blockbuster movie, probably if I'd seen Marvel and was really into these movies still, and was that disappointed, I would be probably angry at the fact that something that with the budget of a Marvel movie in such a big cinematic universe would be that bad.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind
That
of
there's
like
an
how-
extra stink to it, you know?
It's kind of like how there's a massive difference between a movie that you can tell is trying to be a funny bad movie, because funny bad movies are almost always just bad, and a movie that you can tell, no, this person, while they were making this movie, thought it was the best movie ever. Those are always fantastic. That's what makes The Room such a fantastic bad movie. Because you can tell the entire time that you're watching The Room, Tommy Wiseau thought he was filming something to the level of Citizen Kane and Seven Samurai.
And in
When
a way,
no.
he kind of did.
He was filming belly button fucking.
No, he
Yes, he
was
was.
filming.
That went on too long. It made it so awkward.
Yep. Because you can't watch that sex scene and not realize, wait, given the height of these two people, he's fucking her belly button.
Oh,
Hey, come on now. Everybody has their kinks.
I'm sorry, if you can be satisfied by sticking it in a belly button, you were born with one cruel handicap.
yeah.
Or the other one had a terrible, terrible doctor when at birth.
Oh God! Oh
Yeah.
God!
It's
Oh,
kind of
God,
like how
no.
if you get in a dick measuring competition with a woman as a guy, yeah, you have a cruel handicap. I'm sorry.
Hold on, just imagine a woman with a belly button that could accept a.
I think that's a hernia at that point.
Nope.
Or just a morbidly obese woman. There comes a point where you are so large that really the only realistic chance anyone has is to slap you and ride the wave in.
Ride the wave.
Have anyone else heard that phrase before I said it? Just out of
Which one?
curiosity.
I heard
Say
it.
that again.
Slap them and ride the wave in.
No.
Yeah, you slap the ass and ride the wave. You know?
When you aren't sure where you're supposed to be sticking it, you just give it a slap, and wherever you get pulled, that's good enough.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
Hey, just be lucky you haven't heard that before. So
Yeah, count my blessings.
It's not. I'm not sure if it is worse or if it is better than the take a handful of flour and find the wet spot.
That's gross. Yeah, I would. The other one's better. No, 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 no. The flower one's worse.
Hey,
Ugh.
are we past midnight so we can officially say this kind of
Oh,
stuff?
are we in the Skinamax zone? Is that
Yeah,
what you're
we-
saying?
Yeah, the Skinamax.
I just realized what time it was because of that question, and we have been going for 2 hours now.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's been going at a fairly good pace.
yeah.
Well, it's your call, Captain.
Gulf City Johnny Blaze, I'm out. I need more alcohol.
That's fair.
Oh, we found your limit.
Johnny, you should know by now, if you show up on a Friday, the entire feel of the stream should be a bunch of friends just showing up at a bar and bullshitting. So absolutely come with a drink. You don't know where the fuck the conversation's going. It can go goddamn anywhere.
Come with a couple. That's a swingers. Oh shit! All right, we're going.
But yes, it is about that time, unless you guys have anything that you're dying to talk about and want to keep going a little bit longer. Anyone going once?
I did, but
Nope.
unfortunately, you've worn me down with the liquor. So, I'm
So you don't remember what the topic was? Is that
No, no. I where'd it go? Hold on, dude.
He has a
hold on.
note somewhere.
I had a fucking note. I had a fucking note. Where'd the note go? Son of a fuck. Okay, you know what? I had a note, but I think you've worn me down. I don't know if I'm able to even locate said note, but yeah. So I guess let's call it.
Fair enough. Let's go around the horn and let people weigh in. So who wants to go first? Shall we go in order of introduction? So useless first?
Sure. You know, I want to say, have fun, because what's the point of living? You ain't having fun.
Mhm.
And then let's go Adam, because I believe you were next introduced.
Well, as always, I appreciate the chance to hang out and chat. On
Always
the
fun
show.
having you.
But for both the panel and the audience, and for everybody out there, God bless, and I love y'all.
Copy that. Sora Luna.
Just want to wish everyone a wonderful Friday night or Saturday morning, wherever you are. And thank you very much for listening to whatever this was for 2 hours. We
Yeah.
were all over the place today,
It was so
which is
crazy.
always fun.
I think I could probably accurately rename this stream Sanguine Spurgs. Again. And again. And again. And again.
The Spurgathon.
No. The Minions of the Zoo 1571 in defense of the sunfish.
The fucking sunfish.
There is no defense for the sunfish. It is an abomination even to the gods of the sea. That's why they get flipped on their side and just starve to death on the surface of the ocean so often.
Unfucking believable.
And I'm being corrected in chat. And a wonderful Saturday evening to our Australian friends in the future.
They don't exist,
Very
though.
true.
It's not real.
Yeah.
Well, I can see them, so my imaginary Australian friends.
And I'll leave off, not with my standard, or not with the normal standard, but with one of the alternatives of your life is coin, it's up to you to decide how to spend it.
Yep.
And with that, have a good night all. The Zoo
Have
is
fun.
closed.
Have fun.
Night.
Night.
There we go. I was about to say, this is when you say goodbye, Adam. But you said it before I could. Now I'm going to say goodbye again. Goodbye all.